go ahead and get started. This meeting is a meeting of the school board and public for the purpose of conducting the school corporation's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There may be time for public participation as indicated by agenda item or as directed by the president. The meeting site is fully accessible. Any person requiring further accommodation should contact the superintendent at the school corporation central office. This meeting will be electronically recorded and kept on file in the superintendent's office, and a copy of the audio recording will also be available on the NLCS website. So if everyone who is able will rise and uncover for the pledge. Scott, you want to lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just to let the record reflect, we are all board members are present except for Mr. Bailey. So I would entertain a motion for approval of minutes and executive session memo from July 20th and executive session from August 15th, 2023.
Make a motion, we approve them.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Parsley seconds. Any discussion on the motion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Item D, persons to address the board relative to the agenda. Do we have any? Okay. All right, then we will move on to E, Mrs. Robin Muter.
Yes, I ask for the board's approval for claims and payroll in the amount of $2,036,161.02.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to approve the claims and payroll as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Lambert makes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. King seconds. Any discussion on the motion? All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. That motion carries. Go ahead.
Next, I ask the board's approval of the personnel agenda as attached.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to approve the personnel agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion, we approve it.
All right. Mr. King makes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Mrs. Miller seconds. Any discussion on the motion?
Yeah, I have a question. Clarification, I guess. So on the first page, we have third person Joseph Gillespie, the Career Center fire science instructor. And I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but on the memorandum of understanding with, I think it's Ivy Tech, we have fire science on there. And the name on there is Daniel Gillespie. So I don't know if this is Joseph Daniel Gillespie and he goes by two different names. His given name's Joseph, he goes by Daniel.
I'll
Okay.
defer to Yancy. Do you know?
Amy
Redmond's shaking her
She's
head.
shaking her head,
Amy,
yes.
Okay.
Joseph
Okay.
Diva. Okay. All right. Thanks.
So same person, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The same. All right. Motion carries. And go ahead.
Okay. I ask the board's approval to advertise the 2024 school budget calendar.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to approve and advertise the 2024 budget.
So moved.
All right. Mr. Lambert makes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Parsley seconds. Any discussion on the motion? All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Motion carries. Mr. Yancey. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Go ahead, Robin.
I ask the board's approval to renew the MBA contract plan.
Okay. That is in our packet. So I would entertain a motion to renew the MBA contract plan.
I'll make a motion.
All right. Mr. King makes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Parsley seconds. Any discussion on this motion?
MBA for Public's Awareness is Marcia Brenner Association. This is who runs our Power School app and
Yes,
IT
they
support.
help. They're our support for Power School.
Power School. Is there a significant change over what we've been doing in
No
this?
change.
Okay.
The only change is we are going to pay this yearly amount to save the $500.
Yeah.
But
I
other
saw that
than
was
that,
highlighted,
yeah.
so. And that saved us $500 a month, is that what it's
Yes,
showing us
mhm.
here? Okay, showing us here. Okay, very good, thank you.
I have a question. You go ahead.
No, I was,
Oh.
you go, I was gonna
ask if there
were any other questions.
So if, this is for, to call in support, right?
Correct.
So if we need support with this, who in the school corporation does that?
So this will be the director of technology will use it, and Rita, the data specialist.
Okay,
They're the ones that use it mostly.
all right. And we have a certain number of hours per month,
Correct.
all right? Do those roll over if we don't use them?
They
or
do
we
not.
Okay, so just start fresh every month?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. And now, Mr. Yancey.
Thank you. I would like to ask the board for approval for middle-aged students outside the North Lawrence Community Schools and BMS District to participate in BMS football, swimming, wrestling, and color guard.
Okay, I would entertain a motion for that, though I think it's supposed to say middle school aged instead of middle-aged students.
Oh.
So I would entertain, a motion.
I would move to amend the recommended motion. The board has not had time to discuss a policy amendment or a new policy to allow for things like ensuring external kids playing with our schools have made grades or are facing any disciplinary actions or anything like that. In order to contain this, rather than these four sports indefinitely, since football is upon us, and what we know is that we've got two personnel that fit into this category right now in one sport, that is football, I move that this motion be relegated only to include the 2023 football season that we are upon right now. So that would mean approval for middle school age students outside of NLCS BMS district to participate in BMS 2023 football, period.
Okay, do we have a second?
Yes, I will second that.
All right, Mr. Lombrick seconds the motion. Any discussion on the motion?
I just had a question. So, are the teams, have they already, like, is the team already picked, so to speak? I mean,
Yes.
or can you walk on late? Can kids, like, if this is approved, does that mean, like, and if 10 kids show up tomorrow, but they'll take
I
them,
think
or is it?
they've already
is there-
taken they've already got the spots. Correct, Steve?
Sure. I would assume
I mean, once you set your roster, usually you don't take on any more students. Because they have tryouts.
they would probably let more kids come.
Depends on
John
numbers.
Hudson
Yeah.
can give us some information.
We also, color guard is actually started right now, so
Do we have
they're practicing right now as we speak.
with external student participants?
It's open to them. I don't know if we have any right now. I can check with the sponsor.
That was the concern of the board, I think, at least in part, was how widespread is this? How do we address these issues of things that I just mentioned?
Say, if we're gonna amend it for the one that's going right now, the other one is also going right now. I just don't know how many are participating. I can find out from him and let you know right away, but I just wanted to say that because there
Yeah,
are
thank
two
you.
going right now.
Thank you.
When is swimming and when is
Those are in
Wrestling.
those are spring.
Yeah, those are more winter,
Winter.
springish. Yeah.
At least at the high school.
Winter
winter.
and
Yeah.
swimming could be winter too, depending on
All right, and
what season they want to play in.
Color guard, do
middle
this
school.
amended?
so I then amend my amendment, or do I?
Okay,
We didn't-
And
We didn't second it. We didn't second it.
yeah, Jeff
Yes, I
seconded it.
seconded
Oh, we did.
So we have to vote on this motion, and then you can put forth an amended motion to include color guard. So,
Yeah, it's already been.
all those in favor of this motion to include only football signify by saying aye.
2022 football.
2023
football.
Are we just voting on the amendment to allow the amendment, or are we voting on to to allow it to happen,
Voting on the
We're
amendment.
voting on the amendment.
to allow the amendment to happen.
That is technically how.
To
Yes,
approve
you're
the
right.
amendment.
You're right.
You're voting to approve
Approve the amendment.
the motion.
Yes,
The motion is
first.
different than what the recommendment was, but you're
Right.
not amending any motion yet. You're just approving the first motion. which
Are
is
we
to-
doing it right, Greg? That's the question. Okay.
So vote on that, then the next motion can be to include color guard.
Okay. All right. So right now we're taking a vote to determine whether we will amend what's been presented to us to apply only to the 2023 football season. So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm still.
No, you don't want.
I'm
okay.
so
Say that again?
So all right.
We can
So
still-
after
everybody
we
has to say
vote
nay
on
and
this,
defeat
are
it.
we then going to vote whether or not to allow the amendment to pass? I mean, the
To allow the
amended
kids-
provision to
All right,
pass,
all
to
right.
allow
So
the
we,
kids
we
to.
have a motion and a second.
No,
to-
this is it. You don't have to vote on.
This is a motion to approve football.
Right, that's the only thing we
Okay.
approved.
This
I
was a
thought we-
recommendation. I made the motion to.
To amend the recommendation.
Okay. So who voted aye? How many people? Okay, it's
I thought
fine.
I was
It's
voting to
fine.
amend
Just
the
you
motion.
two.
I did too.
Okay.
To amend the motion, okay.
No.
No, so the vote, I don't know, we just, our vote just start was for football,
Then why don't you
2023
amend your
football season.
vote?
Okay.
Why don't you amend your motion now?
But there's a motion on the floor.
Why don't you make a motion to,
Add color guard.
repeal the motion and have a
Okay.
second vote on that, then that
That's what we
motion is extinguished, and then we'll start.
Okay. I
start over
move
again.
to repeal my motion as listed earlier. How's that?
I second it.
All right.
Now, should I vote?
Any discussion on that?
That'd be-
Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Now you make your new one.
Start over.
All right. This is not an amendment. This is just a motion.
Okay.
All right. I make a motion to approve middle school age students outside of NLCS and Bedford Middle School District to participate in Bedford Middle School football and color guard contained to the 2023 season. Period.
Do we have a second?
I will still second it.
All right. Mr. Lombard seconds. Any discussion on the motion?
I think there is some debate here about, even though this is my own motion, about impact to our, of our overall community and how our schools interact with the external schools, the charter schools, things like that. So I think while we're containing it to this, we are going to sort that out and also follow up with a more formal policy that addresses the things that I mentioned also. So.
Yeah. So that was our. That's what I think needs to happen is a policy for and procedures for how we do that and making sure that who's responsible for things like making sure they have the appropriate grades for discipline for those kinds of things.
So I guess that's why I guess that should have been done before.
Right.
This motion was brought to us. So
All right.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor of the motion on the floor, which is to allow the students outside of Bedford Middle School in color guard and football only for the 2023 season to participate, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so who was aye? I think there were 4.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion does carry. All right, sorry about that clunkiness.
I would like to ask the board to approve to increase the middle school ECA admissions. I think it's from $4 to $5.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to improve or to increase the middle school ECA admissions by $1.
so moved.
Mrs. Collier makes the motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
All right, Mr. King seconds. Any discussion on the motion?
Yeah, do we have any idea what the, do we have any idea what the financial impact will be? I mean, like, what our admissions have been in the last, for these sports, and any idea?
I'm speaking for the AD. He's not here tonight.
That's
so-
right, okay. All right, I'll get with him, thanks.
All right, any other discussion? right,
As
go ahead.
As a former ticket taker, it saves a lot of change.
All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Thank you, Mr. Yancey. Mrs. Hudson.
Items this evening, starting with the proposed assessment calendar for 23-24. I believe you have that in your packet. We ask the board to approve the 2023-2024 assessment calendar for our K-12 students.
Okay, thank you. I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay, Mr. Lambert makes a motion. Do we have a second? Mr. King seconds. Any discussion or questions on the motion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that carries.
The second item is approval for our ELL teacher, Mrs. Quas, to attend the WIDA conference in Milwaukee, Wisconsin from October 17th through October 20th.
All right, I would entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
All right, Mr. Parsley makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. King seconds. Any discussion on the motion?
What is the WIDA conference?
It's a conference, it's actually named after the states that started it, so Wisconsin, but it doesn't really stand for, it's not a traditional abbreviation. And she's gone the past several years. We use Title II funds to cover that. It's really the best conference for her to attend and for her capacity as our ELL teacher, and we just have one English language learner teacher for our district.
Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
The next couple of items are really just things I'd like to share with the board. Our summer book studies were paid for this summer through grant funds, and we were able to pay 129 NLCS teachers and administrators to participate in the summer book studies. Those were led by teachers and administrators as well. They had 20 books to choose from, and each book was led on a Google Classroom so that the teachers would log in and answer the questions. So they could do it all on their own during their summer time and earn PGPs, which are professional growth points, and also be paid to read those professional books. So it's been a huge success. This is the third summer that we've done that, but teachers were able to earn over 1,800 professional growth points, and those are needed to renew licenses. So each teacher needs 90 professional growth points in order to renew their teaching license. So this gives them a big boost in that department. We also had summer professional development going on in our corporation. We hosted 27 different PD opportunities for our teachers and staff. These opportunities were on a wide range of topics, including health and wellness, science of reading practices, trust-based relational intervention, youth suicide prevention, and the new staff orientation. So I wanted to thank our presenters, which many of those are our teachers and administrators from NLCS, and also our participants. Staff earned professional growth points for that as well, and were paid stipends to attend those PD sessions. We awarded over 1,700 professional growth points to staff, and that doesn't count the summer book studies, that's separate. So I also wanted to give a bit of a recap on our open houses that took place at our elementary buildings the night before the first student day. We had over 1,000 families district-wide attend those Meet the Teacher and open house nights. Those are always a really big draw. We also used that as our Title I annual meeting for each of our elementary schools. Our elementaries are all Title I. And so by state mandate, we have to have a meeting informing our parents of those Title I policies. But we had a great turnout, and so I wanted to thank our administrators and our teachers and staff and our PTOs. Many of our PTOs pitched in and made refreshments and things like that available during those evening events. And Mr. Canada is here. He was going to give a quick recap on the BNL Fresh Start program, which took place right before school started for the freshmen at BNL.
Thank you. Thank you for more paper.
Thank you.
Good evening, and on behalf of Bedford North Lawrence High School, we want to share with you our gratitude for your support in investing for our class of 2027 freshman students as they enter the hallways of Bedford North Lawrence High School. One of the great needs that we identified that was important for student success in the freshman transition from middle school to high school is this idea of an event that we've called Fresh Start. The Fresh Start is a freshman student welcome event. We invite incoming freshmen a chance to meet and greet with teachers and staff. We overview life in high school. We explore the BNL and Career Center campuses, and we help ease the transition from middle school to high school. This year's event was a huge success. Thanks to your support and our BNL faculty for making it a great event for our freshmen. This year we hosted Fresh Start during our 2003 Welcome Week. We had over 60 staff members available to tour, support our students, and begin that foundation of relationship building. And then we had over 201 students sign up and be involved in the event. A special thank you to Mr. Bodie and the NLCS Transportation for also running bus routes for this event to and from. That allowed all freshmen the opportunity to attend. So not only was it a great day to meet our freshmen and welcome them to BNL, but it's also had positive effects on our first weeks of school. So thank you for the support of our Fresh Start event.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Canada. And as someone who had a freshman start in COVID 4 years ago and someone who had a freshman start this year, it was a great to see all the access that you allowed to the high school. Thank you to all the staff members that were there and putting in the extra time. It was really well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And I don't know if this is the right time to do this, but I just wanted to note that we have two people here who have been, there may be other people who are newly hired, and I don't want to miss you, but Mr. Canada we just voted to make our new principal at BNL, so we want to welcome him to that role. And Tricia Hudson as our Director of Learning for Elementary is here. Did I miss anybody else who's here who was on the personnel list?
She's our teacher, kindergarten teacher at Dahlman.
Welcome, April.
That's the second kindergarten teacher,
Right,
right?
an additional kindergarten teacher. So that's awesome. So we're excited to have you in these new roles. So I don't know where I should have done that, but that's where I did it. So, okay, thank you, Mrs. Hudson and Mr. Canada. Mrs. Redmond.
Good evening. First for me is I'm asking approval for our MOU with Vincennes University Project Excel program, and that's the program that our dual credit for auto collision runs through.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Mr. Lombard makes a motion. Do we have a second? Mrs. Collier makes a second. Any discussion? They both did.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
She's not here. I'm sorry.
Any discussion on this motion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you. And number 2, the addendum to our MOU with Ivy Tech to allow for the teachers that were not credentialed at last month's meeting.
Okay, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Mr. King makes a motion. Do we have a second? Mrs. Miller seconds. Any discussion on the motion?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Were they new classes because we didn't have instructors, or the instructors weren't certified yet, or?
They're new hires,
Okay.
so their paperwork had not been processed by Ivy Tech yet.
Okay. And then it says in here that Ivy Tech and Career Center both have a dual credit coordinator. Is that you or a member of your staff?
Well, we actually are fortunate to have what Ivy Tech calls a college connection coach, and it's Cade Nolan. He spends 2 days a week in our building, and he has assumed that role. He works for the admissions department at Ivy Tech. Also, Christina Baker, the counselor, fulfills that role as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you, Mrs. Redmond.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Bodie is here somewhere. I saw him.
I'm Mr. Bodie
Okay,
tonight.
he's going to speak on behalf of Mr. Bodie.
The Transportation Department would like to ask the board approval of a purchase of a 2016. This is a used school bus from Midwest Transit Equipment.
Okay, I would entertain a motion. Mrs. Miller makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Lombrick seconds. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right,
Thank you.
and Mr. Zolman. See, there he is. I didn't know if that was Mr. Yancey also.
Good evening.
Alrighty, maintenance has 3 items on the agenda tonight. The first is approval for performance services to complete roof replacement at Shawswick Elementary.
Okay, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Lombrick makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Miller seconds. Any discussion on the motion?
Yeah, Mr. Zollman, was this a competitively bid process by which companies in the area would have had a chance to bid on this?
Yes, it was, by performance services.
Okay. By performance services, meaning they
They-
released to subs?
Yes.
Understand, okay. And how
We
many,
recommended some, I think they took 4 bids.
4 bids?
Yes.
Or one couldn't
Okay,
take the bid.
Yes.
all right, thank you, sir.
Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any
And-
opposed? Okay, go ahead.
Second is the approval of the purchase of playground equipment at the Shawswick Elementary.
I would entertain a motion to approve. Mr. Key makes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, Mr. Lombrick seconds. Any discussion?
Yeah, I had raised some questions earlier. The motion on the floor is just now for the equipment or for the entire sum?
I believe it's just to purchase the equipment. Is that correct?
That's the entire sum.
Yes.
Oh,
That's for
Okay.
installation and freight. And
Okay.
yes.
So in sum, I believe it's around 422K to
It's also to remove the,
remove the old equipment. Remove the old equipment, install the new.
and why we want to make sure they put it in because of liability.
Sure, I understand that.
Yep.
I guess, first question applies again, was it competitively bid?
It's-
And
It's done through the tips, as we discussed prior. Now we're using companies that are pre-bid, so that helps us in getting the best bid over a conglomerate.
Okay.
Uh,
Second then, and this may be beyond the scope of this particular motion, but in terms of, we have 4 other elementary schools besides Shawswick.
Mhm.
How and when do we plan to phase playground improvements on those?
Each year, we'll be taking a look at we assessed the playgrounds, and of course, Shawswick was in dire need. And we're also putting fence around Shawswick. They have some fencing, but it needs to be completed. So we'll be doing that also. That won't be coming to the board because it's under $50,000 to do that. Of course, it's way cheaper than that, but that's what the law states. And then we will also be looking at other, because this is coming out of the bond.
Right, that was gonna be my next
Yeah,
question.
I'm
How
sorry.
are we paying for it out of that bond? That's fine.
And you know, the Shawswick roof came out of the bond. We will be keeping a tally for you, what's coming out of that bond as it's running. Because you'll be receiving some more bids, next board meeting on some other projects.
Next question was, does this equipment set and installation include the accessibility items and equipment that were being requested by Ms. Collingsworth and the Shawswick PTO, Ms. Pays?
No.
It does not.
No, they are going to do another phase, probably some more shading because there's no trees there, it's wide open. So we'll take care of this phase, and they're gonna do the second phase with the money they raised. So I've already met with the 2 representatives. So they're gonna, once we get the project done, they're gonna go in with the PTO, take a look to where they wanna add, and they will use their money to add to this project.
Okay. So, but some of this, I would assume, I don't know about the additive nature of the handicap or the wheelchair accessible equipment, but is that going
Some-
to be add-on?
Yes, well, there are some of the equipment that handicap accessible to students, not all.
Most of it is.
Most
Some
of
of
it.
this is
Encouragement, except for maybe the swings.
Yeah.
Okay, some of it is, okay.
Yep.
And you have pictures of the neat equipment that's being purchased for you to look and color.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, I think you got one more.
Yes, and the last is approval for GT grandstands to complete the installed football bleachers at the BNL High School.
Okay, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Mrs. Collier makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Miller seconds. Any discussion on the motion?
A couple questions. This talks about total net seats. Do you know what the total net seats is right now?
Pardon me?
This quote talks about approximately 2,700 seats will be in this. Do you know how many we have right now? Is this the same footprint?
No.
Okay.
What we're doing is we're replacing the home side only as of right now because the visitor side we're good for, with the inspections that we have. And plus we got to make it ADA compliant. So I'm working with Greg to, see where we're at. I'm going to give him the information so he can forward it to who filed the complaint, but so.
Okay. And here it talks about some surveys that we have to do, foundation design, utilities, underground utilities. Have we done all those surveys? Or we
As
just,
soon as we sign, this is also through TIPS, and as soon as we sign the proposal, they'll get the ball rolling and everything will be started soon.
okay.
Now, this is after the football season, though.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
they will design it while we're,
Right, they can design it. Right.
exactly.
Yeah, that part of that, 53 weeks or whatever. And then it says it's based on market value. So is it on market value when we give
Once
the
we
contract?
sign
or when
with them now, it's at the market value that we got the quote today. You usually have 30 days. So once you approve this, they will go ahead and start ordering and preparing the
Okay.
build. Not installed till after football season.
Okay, but if we do it within 30 days, we'll get that, the quoted price, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, thanks.
Yes.
And that shouldn't interfere with like track season. If,
I'm hoping they do. I hope they do this right after football.
okay,
Yes.
okay.
So
Yeah.
we discussed this with the AD.
Uh-huh.
So, and Coach also took a look at the plans. So I was told he had a lot of input with this.
Right.
So
And I realize we have to do it. I mean,
right.
we have to do it. So I just wondered if it would cause any issue there. Okay. So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
Thanks.
To
Have a good
be clear, this comes out of the bond.
Yes.
I just want to make okay.
So, Mr. Zolman, I apologize, retro question here. The time frame for the Shawswick Playground improvements, start when, finish when?
As I would say, April,
Finish April.
start in April.
Start
Start
April.
in April.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the
Sometimes
start
it's a
date he
year
gave me
leeway.
Today, yes.
Okay.
But I talked to him today and he said April.
Okay.
So, okay.
So hopefully in time by school 25,
With
24,
everything we're
25
dealing
thing?
with ordering things, it's been a nightmare.
Yeah, sure.
So,
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Is Missy here? Oh. I just know you've been very, very passionate about that. So, thank you. All right, Mrs. Hines?
Good evening. Special Education has two things to bring to the board this evening. The first item is we are asking for a $1.50 increase in the pay for our self-contained professionals for our kiddos in our self-contained classrooms.
Okay, thank you. I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Mrs. Collier makes a motion. Do we have a second? Mr. King seconds. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Thank you.
And I believe in your packet you had the paper that had our step increases for our occupational therapists, physical therapists, and our physical therapy assistants. Previously, in past years, it's about this time of the year that we ask for their steps to be approved. They're not contracted employees, but we do have a pay scale for them, and based on their evaluations, they would be available to go up a step based on that. And so we're asking that to be approved and to go into effect.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the motion as stated.
So moved.
Mrs. Collier makes the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Parsley seconds. Any discussion on the motion?
Approximately how many personnel will this affect?
So I have two physical therapists, one physical therapy assistant, and I have 3 occupational therapists currently.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Van Landingham, where did he go? Here he comes. I see him.
How is it going, everybody? All
Going
right.
well. You're
Good.
at the tail end here.
Yes, I'm gonna be really
Just hope I
fast.
don't
You're in
make-
between us and the
pray
middle
that
school
I don't
football
make a
game.
motion to do whatever you want.
Oh shoot. Okay. Well, I just present to you tonight a website rehaul, just reboot. We're gonna completely make it better, user friendly, transitioning from as presented, transitioning from Blackboard to a site called Final Site.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve as presented.
Moved.
Mr. King makes the motion. Do we have a second? Mrs. Miller seconds. Any discussion? I would just say you're happy with this, right?
Absolutely.
I know we've had a lot of pain
Yeah.
around Blackboard, but you had to describe to me that you feel like this is going to be really good. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to put that out into the public.
The biggest thing with the website is it's kind of what I inherited as I came in, and I've been wanting to make it user-friendly, not only for families and parents and everybody in the community, but also on the back end for administrators, just updating the information. And they didn't seem to have that until they were taken over by Final Site, and I had a great conversation and demo with the people, and it looks amazing, and it makes me really excited to see that we can do it. So there's a lot of good implementation. So
I
I'm
just wanted
excited.
everybody to know that. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
knew that, but I wanted any other discussion on that.
Ms. Mutter, can we afford this at this quote 36,358?
It's actually cheaper than what we had before.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
And it goes down over the
And
years.
it works.
I saw that.
And we can also, it's only 1 year at a time, so if we decide this is not what
Okay.
we want, we can end it without any
That's correct.
No more
Headache.
Blackboard.
No more Blackboard. All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you,
Thank y'all.
David. Persons to address the board. Are there any? You want to address this? You must.
Well,
You may.
Oh, I just want to thank the board for all their help over this last month. We had a lot of issues starting school, and I sure appreciate all your time, because I know I spoke to a lot of you. Also, I want to thank our teachers, staff, our administration, our principals for a great start. And again, it's so nice when I go throughout the district and go in the buildings, seeing the children there working, and our teachers with the smiling face. And I'm proud to be here and work for this district, because it's been a pleasure to walk around and see our facilities and what's going on and the improvements we want to make in the near future. So, again, thank you.
Thank you. Are there anyone else to address the board? Okay. Seeing none, I will go ahead with upcoming meetings. Our next meeting, regular meeting, which is also our budget hearing, is that date? What is the date? September 7th?
Yes, September 7th.
Okay. So with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Mrs. Collier makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Yeah.
Mr. King seconds. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. The middle school football team is playing out at B&L right now. I think 7th grade's playing now, and then